Hi, my name is Petrey. I'm with Cinefied.com. It's fantastic to get a chance to speak to you. It's really great to see kind of like a brutal take on pirates back on our screens, and I just had such a good time with it. And I'm wondering, I've heard you describe this film as essentially a home invasion. What brought that idea or spawned that idea of bringing pirates back in this kind of fashion and that kind of narrative?
I'm from the Caribbean, so I grew up in Cayman Islands, and we had this annual Pirates Week festival. So I would be a kid, and you would watch this cosplay of boats coming in and pyrotechnics and sword fights. And what's crazy about Pirates Week is the pirates win, so they take over the island for a week. And
Oh.
when you're a kid, you don't know what's real and what's not. So I'm holding on to mom and dad, and the pirates are running through the streets. So I kind of had those core memories of the stress of an invasion movie. And then my writing partner Joe Ballerini and I we have this thing called the Bad Idea of the Week Club. We just call each other and say, yo, what about this? And he was like, yo, what about Straw Dogs with pirates? And
Ooh.
I was like, oh yeah, and that was really the start of the soup. Is that concept of defending your home with extreme violence.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the violence, like there's a scene at the beginning which I think is beautifully shot of the boats coming together and they go under attack and the pirates first attack. It's the first attack of the film, and from there, like you fully utilize the R rating. And there's one in particular that I still continue to think back on days after seeing it of the cannonball in the back. And I'm wondering when you and your writing partner were thinking of these ideas and how to fully utilize the rating that you were going to get, was there any ideas that you had but just ultimately had to leave on the cutting room table because they were just so much, or did everything you wanted end up in this final cut as
There are
far as the
definitely
kills?
There are definitely ideas in the script that when you put them on their feet, you're like, okay, that feels too fantastical. Because for us, it was, I wanted the veracity of the kill, but I want everything to be realistic. I didn't want to get into like super fantastical territory where Priyanka was twirling and jumping and flying through the air
Yeah.
and killing people. You go like, okay, how does someone of her size and skill set take a bunch of, by the way, pirates were trained killers from all the best ports all around the world, right? So you go, okay, how does she take down these people one by one? And so we kind of let that dictate it. So you got the brutality, but it never became like incredulous. And so there were ideas in the script. I think there was one where like she jumped down and she went like spallayed the guy through the head with a machete and then started looking at gravity. I was like, okay, that doesn't actually work. So we made sure everything was battle tested, and it's really this fight for survival. So that was how we kept going. And in terms of the edit, no man, I keep waiting for like Amazon to walk in and be like, yo, you went too far. We got to pull some stuff out. But bless them, man. They've just been so supportive of not only the authenticity and the culture, but like really going there, cut after cut. They were like, that was never an issue, which I'm, such a blessing, man.
Yeah, and the authenticity, it felt from someone that's very much like my knowledge of pirates in general comes from like Pirates of the Caribbean or Black Sails. So, like I'm curious, like how much research went into, because you said you kind of grew up with kind of like the elements of this, but like how much research went into it to make it as historically accurate as you could make it?
Well, we went deep. I mean, everything from my writing partner and I going into the National Archives in Cayman Islands and going through old letters and descriptions of pirate attacks. Carl Urban went through trial records of some of the most sadistic pirates ever. Uh, Priyanka did this research trip where we went down to Cayman Islands and met with some of the elders who were descended from pirates. And again, the sweetest old ladies you ever want to meet. And they're like, oh, this is how you twine the rope and this is how you do that. And we'd be like, okay, that'd be a great way to kill someone. That'd be a great way to kill someone. So, it really was this kind of really unique blend of trying to stay super authentic to the time and the culture. What's great about Cayman Islands is up until the 1960s, it was almost frozen in time. So like I can go to my great grandmother's house that's 200 years old, it's still standing, and I could show that to my production designer, right? The old school kitchens, the way they're built, the conch shells on the path, like those things are still there in very small amounts. So we're able to really rebuild from experience and kind of flesh it out that way.
And I mean the setting is beautiful. I mean, I was this shot on location in the Cayman Islands, or where was this shot?
So we did a week in Cayman Islands, and then we did the rest in the Gold Coast of Australia, which is beautiful. And our production designer Phil Ivey, he's just a world builder. He's done like 5 Agbo movies, from Extraction to so we took on the challenge of actually making physical. We wanted this to be a physical location movie, and we chose these remote locations. So when you'd come to set, it was almost like you were transported back in time, which is dope because we can then bring the audience back in time. You can kind of
Yeah.
shoot 360. There's no planes, there's no skyscrapers, there's just nothing. And that was kind of a vibe, to be able to really reconstruct the world that was gone.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, as you said, how your cast and crew were kind of absorbed into it. I felt fully absorbed into this world. So I think you definitely succeeded there. And I've already mentioned the action scenes, but I mean the crazy combat that Priyanka and Carl both get into, and other pirates. How much was what inspired, I guess, what were the inspirations while you're writing and directing it that really went into these fight scenes and the choreography that went into them? Because I mean, they're epic.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Listen, we put a lot of thought into it. I'll pull references from movies, everything from Rambo to different styles to the Batman. You see, we have that really cool flash sequence inside the caves, and so we were pulling a mix of contemporary and older films, and really kind of putting that in the soup. And I would sit with the team and our second unit director Rob Alonso, and truthfully, we would just start with talking character. And every meeting was more about character, more about like, survival and what are they fighting for and how do we get out of this. And then, I'd also go in the gym and I would run it, and I would be like, all right, put me through it. And sometimes they'd be like, oh, it'd be cool if she did this. And I'm like, well, why would she do this when I would just grab this dude's hair and pull him down and bite his hand? And they're like, well, we could do that too. And I'm like, yo, let's be real about it. So once we kind of crossed that barrier that we were making a commitment to make it real, then it's like it actually gave us a different type of creativity, because it was like, oh man, so we're going for it. We're going for it. Like, how, by the way, it's not easy to kill somebody. Not that I've killed anybody, but I'm just saying, it ain't like it's swat, swat, swat. This ain't swashbuckling, right? You gotta stab this dude 15 times and he's gonna take 5 minutes to bleed out, which you see in those first kills, right? It's like, that's a long fight. And she's getting hand to her, right? And it was just great to have Priyanka, who was willing to go there and jump in with us.
And the did as you've kind of said, like Priyanka and Carl, they fully went into this world. They went in depth to learn knowledge, and along with the script. And how much training did they also go through? Did they have to go through extensive training for their stunts, or was it like, did they perform their own stunts a good amount of time, or was it stunt professionals as well?
Well, we got to give shout out to our stunt professionals who go through, who make sure everything is safe, who also, will take on things, will, you can throw someone through a window once,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do that to an actor once, but you can't do it 15 times, right? We got to balance it
Yes.
out. So shout out to them, but I will definitely say that the great thing about Carl and Priyanka is they're both very experienced. They're both, very safe, but they're willing to go there, like I said. And so a lot of what you're seeing on screen is them, right? We dragged Priyanka across that floor. Everyone saw on Instagram the bruises and the splinters. And I mean, I'm sitting there going, oh man, this, but then she'd come in and go, I can do it better. Let's go again. And so, it really, you can tell, because it also just gives you freedom with the camera to be able to check in. Joe Russo had this thing. He's like, you want to check in every 15 or 30 seconds, right? You want to know where's your character at, not just slice, slice, cut, cut, bang, bang. And so having that style and that approach for both of them, and having them really in the scenes, allowed us to be able to whip a camera up and capture the emotion, and then come back down and get the stunt, and it was messy, and it was raw, and it was visceral, and I mean, again, just made like a cool soup, man.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it, because I really hope people check this out when it hits Prime Video. And I mean, it's definitely an experience I'm very glad I had. So thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Talk soon.